Hi, it's Emanuele here for editasplus.com, and this is what you're gonna be creating. Cool. Okay. In this work, we have camera movement, 3D ambient. We rebuilt an hangar with the floor, the wall, and the roof. We have an animation, a simple animation of the crow. And let's start. Before starting, we need the font. Go on Google and search Steelfish. I find it on dafont.com. Download and install it. Then return to the After Effects. Create a new composition, HD, and we type into Expendables. Okay. Align it center. Also type D. Smaller, and align it on the D of the Expendables. Maybe center them. Okay. And we need to stretch the text. Okay. And now to create a 3D, we need to duplicate the text layer, make it 3D, and on the text option, we will link the source text, because if you want to change the text, we can do that without problems. And now duplicate the second layer about 10 times. Okay, now hit P for the position and start moving it on the z-axis. We start from 0, -3, -6, etc. Now we moved the layers in the z-axis, and as you can see in the custom view, we have something similar 3D shape. And do the same thing for the V. Link the text layer, duplicate it, and move it on the z-axis. Okay, now we will add a texture on the text. I'll add this texture. You can choose which texture you prefer. You can find it on Google, on your library, it doesn't matter. Drag the texture inside the composition, duplicate the first layer with the position, with the measured position in the z-axis, and we will use it as a mask for the texture. And we can change the track matte as alpha matte, and do the same thing for the other title. Duplicate the texture, move it down, and as the alpha matte selected, or track matte, alpha matte, Expendables, you see that the textures are now on the text. At last, select every layer, go in the material options, and turn on the cast shadow. Now create a new HD composition. We call it warehouse. and drag our title, make it a 3D, or in the material options, turn the custom shadows on, and now drag the texture for a second time, make it 3D, rotate it, and create the floor. In the front view, be sure to align it in the bottom of the text. Okay. Now create a new camera, 35mm, preset, hit OK, and let's create the 3D environment. Run to the custom view, select the floor, duplicate it and move it backward. Overlay just a bit, double click on it and add a mask, increase the fader about 200, it's okay, and align it to the floor, duplicate a third time and move it here. We can stretch the front floor and also the back floor, Okay. Now go inside the material options, accept shadows, be sure that accept shadows are on, and create a new light, intensity maybe 500, and cast shadows must be turned on, shadow darkness 200 and diffusion 50 pixels. Move the light behind the text layer and move it down on the active camera, and you have to see the shadows. If you have OpenGL, remember that OpenGL must be interactive to see the shadows, and we move the camera backward just a bit. Okay, looks good. Now add another light, intensity 150, cast shadows turn off, hit OK, move it, click maybe here, turn down the intensity, maybe 35. Okay, now we need the wall for our warehouse, and I'll use this texture. Never mind as before the texture, you can choose whatever you want, whatever you prefer. Add it to our comp, make it 3D, and rotate it scale it down using 30%, and custom view, align it with the floor. Okay. May scale up just a bit, 55%. Okay. Move it. Okay. Go inside the material options and change the ambient to 5%, diffuse to 0, specular 3, and shyness 5%. Okay, we want it more dark with minus reflections. Once you've done it, maybe it's too dark, and change the specular to 8%. Okay. Rename it as left wall and duplicate it, move it there, duplicate another time, move it there, duplicate it, and move here. You can move the backlight to make the shadows as you like it. And now duplicate the walls, duplicate, okay, rename the walls as right wall, and move them on the other side. Okay. Now we need the roof for our warehouse, and I find my roof on rssearchhub.com. Download this image, and you have to edit it in Photoshop, and open Photoshop, duplicate the layer, Ctrl T, edit and distort, and I got to distort the lower side of the image. Okay, save it and import in After Effects. This is my image, and import in my composition, make it 3D. I got to scale it about 300%, and now using mask, I mask half of this roof, and to position it, rotate it, put the front side to align better the roof. And, okay, Now rename on left roof, duplicate it, right roof, and we got to on the mask path invert the mask and on the rotation and rotate it as the other layer. If you go to the custom view, you can check your work. You have not to see any space between the two parts of the roof, and okay, now duplicate the right and the left roof and move it then back, top view, okay. Now we have to make some color correction to the roof. An effect, it curves, we need levels and glow. Okay, we start with the levels and change the white input to make it a little bit darker. And also, okay, we add a glow. And we change the input of the white to make the glow visible. A bit more, okay, and we need to make it more red. Increase the red curve and decrease the blue curve. Okay, select the effect, copy and paste to the other layer. Now we added the shine to the text, but to do that we need to make a change inside the title. We need to change the mode from normal to multiply for the texture. Now we have to add the shine, but before do that, go on the source, the front light, and increase maybe 50% more. 80%, okay. You have to see the texture, and now duplicate title layer, solo it, add a glow, and trap called shine. In the shine menu, click on use mask, set the mask radius at 600, mask feather as 185, move the source point in the bottom of the text and set the array length to 1, boost light to 1, and change the colorize with light yellow, orange it's okay, and light orange Okay, and change the lightness alpha to obtain this effect, and transfer the mode to normal. Remember to change the source opacity to 0 because we only want the shine on this layer, and set it to 0. Okay, now change the name of the layer as a shine, unsolo it, and okay. I want more light in front of my text, and change the light to from 35 to 80, maybe more, 90, and move it just a little bit in the right. Okay, now we have to add a flare behind the text, and to do that create a new solid, call it optical flare, hit OK, and searching in the plugin optical flare, add it. Inside the option, go on preset browser. If you have the pro preset too, choose a blindness, but you can choose every flare you want. The important thing is that you have to change the color with orange, and hit OK. Remember to leave render mode on black, and change the mode here on screen. Okay, move it here in the center of our comp. Now, because we use a 2D effect on a 3D environment, we needed to leave the optical flare on top of our 3D layers, and only move the title and the shine over it. Okay, as you can see, with the flare there's no shadows, and to have them, take the floor layer and take them on top, and duplicate the backlight, duplicate it, and move it down and backward. Maybe also the light one more down. Turning on active camera, you can see there's the shadows, and but there's a little bit difference between the floor and the wall, but never mind, because in the color correction they will blend it together. Before continue with the color correction, we needed to change the material option of the roof, because it's too much lighter, because there's many lights, and need to modify it on material option, and change the diffuse to 40, the specular 10, and okay. Now create a new adjustment layer, name it looks, because I'll use a plugin called the Magic Bullet Look, and click on edit, I use a preset, the blockbuster preset on a popular film. Click on it and apply. Okay. Now we have to animate the camera movement, and to make that, go on camera option, hit P to reveal the position, move the camera, may split the view horizontal, okay, active camera and a custom view 1, maybe reduce to a third, okay, to make it faster, and select the camera and move it down to the ground, rotate just a little bit the X axis, okay, move it okay here, add the keyframe, and maybe 3 or 4 seconds before, we're gonna move the camera here and down here. Okay, because we want that the camera stay near the ground during the animation, and set the second keyframe or keyframe assistant as is to make it more smooth. At last I want to add some vignette, and to do that we can use also looks and increase the vignette radius. Okay, better. And now we need the crow animation that move towards the camera, and I'll search in Google, search Flybird front. Okay, I'll use the source sprite, import it in Photoshop. Now we have to remove the background and make it as a silhouette. Duplicate the background with a magic tool, choose the blue, press delete, and using levels and black and white, I'll make it as a silhouette, merge the layer, and delete the white point inside the silhouette. At last, rotate it this way and maybe increase Great. Okay, save it and import in After Effects. Okay. This is my osprey flying, and you see black because I saved it in a PNG, as a PNG file with the alpha channel, and without background you see the silhouette. Drag it in our comp, maybe now with one view, and before starting we animate it with a puppet tool. Click on puppet tool and add the point. As you can see, by default there's a keyframe. Move toward half a second, move the upper side of the wing, move half a second, copy keyframe, move half a second, and move them down. You can animate it as you prefer, maybe that's either. That. And this down just a bit, and also this. Okay, now copy and paste it to have a continue animation. Okay, perfect. Return to our composition, split the view to horizontal, and switch our osprey to 3D, unsolo it, and with the camera, maybe solo the camera, the osprey in the floor, better. And pressing P for a position of osprey, set a keyframe. Here at the start of the animation of camera, and at the beginning I want my bird starting from the top of the text, and I want to follow the camera and moving it down toward the camera. As you can see, it's too near. We need to push it just a little down. Maybe at the keyframe here. Okay, about 6 seconds, the camera smooth away. I want that my bird flying away from the right. You see this is on the right, and okay, we need to move the keyframe of the animation back, and let's launch a run preview. Okay, now as you can see the animation is good, but the wings are too slow, and to make them faster just select the keyframe, press Alt and reduce the time and launch another run preview. Okay, you only have to adjust the animation to make it as you want. You can change the light position to reveal better the texture in the front of the title, and remember to activate the motion blur for the levels and turning on. I made some adjustments. I moved the front light here in the center, and I increased the intensity from 90 to 1200. I removed the keyframe of a bird to make it more dynamic, and I adjust the movement in front of the camera, and that's all. I hope you appreciated this tutorial. It's Emanuele here for 8adsplus.com, and see you next time.